I filled my apartment with carnivorous plants to spite my vegan roommate.
Okay, so I am 24 female, have been living with my roommate, 26 female, for 3 years. My roommate is a strict vegan and has been since she was 14. I, however, am not. This has never been a problem, since I think people can do whatever they want with their lives, and I have never tried to change her mind about being vegan. My roommate is a bit of a plant lady. She's been collecting and raising different types of plants for years and has amassed quite a collection. She even puts little sticker labels with the names she's given them, which is adorable. She's truly one to die for her plants. I think this is cool, but have never really interacted with them besides watering them whenever she's out. It really doesn't get in the way of my life, so I don't care that she's so obsessed with them, and I'm glad she has a hobby. Here's why the problem begins. 2 months ago, she visited a conference on animal products and came back with a more fiery spirit. She started going to events regularly, became a local activist, started preaching to people in the street, etc. Now, this isn't a problem. She's a human being who can believe whatever she wants. Or at least it wasn't a problem, until every conversation with her transformed into telling me why I should go vegan, why I'm evil for consuming animal products, and how I should be ashamed that I'm not vegan. This seemed weird since she hadn't acted like this prior to the conference. But it had gotten so common, I started waking up earlier to go to work so I could eat my eggs in the parking lot of my job so I don't have to hear her rant. Since we were close to the end of our lease, I had decided to pull a little stunt before we parted ways. I headed to an exotic plants place near where I live and got a bunch of different types of carnivorous plants. I'm talking every single species I could get my hands on. I also got pots and things to hang them from, so they looked pretty. My roommate wasn't there that day, so I had plenty of time to set the place up. I decided to do it in the kitchen since that's where most of her scolding would take place. I put them everywhere I could. Wherever she had a plant, I put one right beside it, just to be extra petty. It looked like a greenhouse in there. Honestly, I was pretty proud of my work. I felt like Buddy the Elf when he renovated the store. When she got home, she started screaming at me, blowing up saying that I'm horrible. She was livid. But because I bought them and I hadn't moved or touched anything of hers, she couldn't do anything. It's been like this for the last few weeks, and I've been caring for them daily and even researching the best ways to keep them alive and purchasing products so they can thrive. Honestly, I've actually gotten pretty fond of the plants. I went as far as naming and labeling them. I'm moving out today, so I thought I would tell this story, because it's kind of crazy. Story 2. My ex-husband used to put me down all the time, but I proved him wrong. Okay, so after we had kids, my ex-husband decided that all chores at home besides the garden were mine as I'm a woman, and so doing housework and minding the kids should come naturally to me and be effortless. He also told me that I didn't have a real job. I was working as a doctor, becoming a specialist. He figured that was the same as being a student. UTF. He also told me that I didn't really make any money. Apparently the 40% of our income that I contributed was nothing. He told me having kids had made me fat and ugly. At the same time, he wouldn't look after the kids, so I could go and exercise and was himself happy to sit on the sofa eating chocolate and crisps. He didn't exactly look like when we met either, and would switch between being offended if I didn't join him in eating and telling me to not eat shit. He would tell me how lucky I was to have a man like him and how nobody else would ever want me and how I wouldn't be able to manage without him. I divorced him. We had to go to court as he refused to sell the house or buy my part of it from me. He refused to pay child support. My divorce lawyer, who only handles divorces, said that even though she was used to a lot, he was really something. His lawyer ended up quitting as he refused to accept that the law was as it is, and that no, he could keep all our mutual assets and not pay child support. It took a while, and during that time I was pretty stretched financially, so I couldn't afford a car. So I had to bike everywhere with my kids in a cargo bike, and so I dropped all of the baby weight. I started going out on dates. I found out that even before I had dropped the baby weight, plenty of men were happy to date me, and they were actually handsome and successful men too. A friend of mine asked to borrow my Tinder profile. She had never been single while Tinder existed. She dared me to go on a date with a handsome 15 years younger man. I did. He was really nice actually. We dated for nearly 2 years. Did I mention he had a six-pack and just wanted to make me happy? I found out that he was actually my neighbor's son. And when we started dating, his dad was still my ex-husband's neighbor. The lawsuit was still going on. He also had the same education as my ex-husband and worked in the same profession. They didn't know each other. Once the divorce was finalized and the house was sold, I bought a flat and a sports car. Did I mention that he ended up having to split everything 50-50 in the divorce and paying the regular amount of child support? I had proposed a 40-60 split and for him to pay 2/3 of what is customary in child support in order to avoid a lawsuit, and told him that was less than what the law stated. But he wouldn't listen, so we had to follow the law. Oh, and since the divorce he's gained all the weight that I lost. I look just as I did before I had kids more than 10 years ago. He looks at least 20 years older. He did meet someone new. She's very sweet and the kids love her. They actually prefer her to him. But to someone as shallow as him, I am pretty sure that he doesn't feel that he has upgraded. He treats her even worse than he treated me. The kids tell me. I feel sorry for her. Last time I had her on her own, I told her that if they ever split up, then I am fine with her continuing to be in my kids' lives as she doesn't have any kids of her own.